Hi, love. Today I'm going to share a bit of a sad story, but one that has a very potent meaning that I feel is important, love. In my first marriage, I was very close to my father-in-law. He was the type of person who just exuded love and would perk up and say, "Hi, gorgeous," in such a beautiful way when he greeted me that it filled me with joy every time. I loved spending time with him. And I trusted him. We had a lot of conversations that were deep and profound, ones where I sought out his advice and ones where we were just cracking up. I loved him deeply. When things ended, there were some lies told about me that I believe is the reason not a single family member reached out to me except for him. It was essentially our goodbye conversation, although in it he told me he loved me and would continue to. I missed him deeply, and I mourned the loss of that father-daughter relationship daily. I had very little self-worth at this time in my life, so when it got back to me about the things that were being said about me to rationalize the reason for the divorce, I was crushed, and I didn't have the fight in me to stand up against the lies, and I wasn't sure anybody cared anyway, anyone except maybe him, and I cared very much if he thought that those things about me were true. I almost called him, and I almost called him every day. I would start writing him letters, but I never finished them for fear of how it could be ridiculed or even just thrown away. I would drive past his office, and I would try to convince myself to stop in and just say hi, but the fear of him kicking me out was too much, so I drove away. After months of this, it would begin to get a little bit easier. I would feel urges to go see him, but I would simply allow them to ache until I could cry it out well enough to just tuck it back into my subconscious. The urges got stronger, and I felt along with them that he was sick. I also began to chastise myself for making it more dramatic, and I began to angrily shove the desire to see him away. Then one day in August or so, I clearly heard in my head, "Amanda, go see him, he has cancer." I was shocked and appalled at my brain for creating such a dark, dramatic circumstance, and I angrily shoved it aside, and I was still too afraid to do anything. I rationalized that after some time had passed, I could stop by and maybe he would give me a chance to explain the truth, and maybe, just maybe, I could have a friendship with him again, or at least tell him how much his love meant to me and get one more hug. These urges increased in intensity as well until around October, where it effectively faded away, and I felt relief from the pain of not taking that action that I so desperately wanted to but was still too afraid to. Then the next year rolled around, and I was participating in a self-help seminar where I decided it was time to release my anger about those lies that had been told about me and release the animosity and blame that I had against my ex-husband. So I called him, and we had a nice conversation. I was elated. I thought, yes, surely now that this has happened, I can go by his dad's office and he'll talk to me. So I made plans in my head to go visit him the following workday. In this space of glee, I casually asked my ex how he's been, and he said, "Well, honestly, it's been kind of a hard time. I don't know if you heard, my dad passed away October of last year from cancer." So you see, love, life gave me so many chances to be able to tell him how much he meant to me. I had told him I loved him often, but never sat down and with detail told him all the things I appreciated about him and what a difference he made in my life. I suffered deeply in my mind from the thoughts of what could have happened had I been brave enough to be vulnerable and rejected. And then I suffered deeply from the outcome of what actually occurred. This was well over 10 years ago, and I still mourn that missed opportunity. People say all the time, "You never know." And I think we say that with a bit of dissociation because the pain of the thought that our loved ones will be taken is too awful. And to really let that penetrate, I agree that that could end up being a very traumatic way to remind ourselves to express love. But what I do want to stress, love, is to follow those urges, to reach out to those you love. Risk being vulnerable. Risk feeling dumb. Risk being rejected. Tell that stranger that you can tell they have a beautiful heart or that their eyes sparkle. Or tell that person you're attracted to what you appreciate about them. Forgive. Let go of pride. And if the situation doesn't turn out the way you hoped, let go of the negative emotions connected to that too. I do this, and I get bewildered responses. I don't take it personally, and I don't regret any expression of love that I've given, even with the blushing and awkwardness that sometimes comes along with it. You may not know your time or their time, but you do know that right now you are alive and you have that thought. So be brave enough to honor that in yourself and go express it. The tool I'm leaving you with today is a bit different because it's an app. It's a free app that has nothing to do with the modalities that I do, but it's a great way to connect. It's called Marco Polo, and the icon looks like a colorful beach ball. It allows you to record videos of any length and send it to other people who also have the app. They can receive it whenever and respond so that you have like an ongoing conversation with someone without having to figure out a time when you're both actually available. There are some fun features that you can play around with as well, but the main point behind it is to reach out and connect with each other. It's been instrumental in me having a deeper connection with my loved ones, and it's a great way for my daughter to connect with her young cousins. I will also mention a powerful book. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a profound read, and it evokes a lot of thought, and it can spark a lot of transformation. However you choose love, I do hope that you will allow yourself the bravery to begin building those relationships and filling your cup with loving connection. Remember, love, every moment is a new opportunity and magic does exist. It's love, and it's you, love. I'll see you soon.